Collaboration allows us to know more than we are capable by knowing ourselves. A very good morning. On behalf of the Postgraduate and Research Department of Economics, it's an absolute honor to welcome you all to the Japan-India Economic Exchange, an initiative to bridge cultures and perspectives alike. International collaboration accelerates shared innovation, supports the agreement of common international standards, and fosters the development of joint approaches. Exposing students to a global collaboration builds cultural understanding and an awareness of the wider world. With that being said, a prayer is merely a wish turned Godward. Kindly rise for the Tamirtai Vartha, followed by the college prayer.
நீராறும் கடலொடுத்த நிலமடந்து கெழிலொழுகும் சீராரும் வதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிழே எக்கணமும் அதிசிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
सत्यव्रतं सत्यपरं त्रिसत्यं सत्यस्य योनिं निहितं च सत्ये सत्यस्य सत्यं ऋतसत्यनेत्रं सत्यात्मकं त्वां शरणं प्रपन्नाः वाणी गुणानुकथने श्रवणो कथायां हस्तौ च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्नः स्मृत्यां शिरस्तव निवास जगत्प्रणामे दृष्टिः सतां दर्शनेस्तु भवत्तनूनां नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णायाद्भुतकर्मणे रूपनामविभेदेन जगत्क्रीडति यो यतः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Thank you. We request the dignitaries to lead us in lighting the Kuttuvilakku and set the tone for the program. Thank you. Now, I request Professor J.P. Jaideep, Head, PG and Research Department of Economics, to formally welcome the gathering.
Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, student delegates, staff members, students from the Department of Economics, my colleagues, one and all present here, a very happy morning. If I need to tell them, I got to tell them. If my pronunciation is wrong, please don't mistake. Ohayo gozaimasu. Before I start the formal welcoming address, I would like to give you a small glimpse of the prestigious Department of Economics. The Postgraduate and Research Department of Economics moves ahead with the motive of imparting students the fundamental economic theories, orienting them on application of economic concepts to the real world, phenomena, keeping abreast of the current economic affairs. The department is endowed with highly qualified and committed teachers who take all efforts and adopt effective methods to transform the students into active learners, thinkers, scholars in the field of economics. The department initiates student-centric learning in a very simple, methodical, engaging, and lively manner. This is done by providing them with myriad of activities like guest lectures, panel discussions, agro-industrial visits, in addition to traditional chalk and talk method. The department is proud of its unique initiative, ESSR, that is Economic Student Social Responsibilities, reaching out to the underprivileged in the society. Being one of the oldest departments, several legendary academicians have nurtured the growth of the department from UG to PG, from MPhil to PhD, thereby transforming the department into full-fledged research department. Adding another feather to the cap, we are proud to host Japan-India Economic Exchange, bridging cultures and perspectives in collaboration with Indo-Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. At this juncture, I take an absolute honor of welcoming Professor Moriki Ohara and the student delegates of the Department of Economics and Management from the Yokoko University, Kyoto, Japan. I extend my welcome to Sugna Ramamurthy ma'am, Secretary General, Indo-Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and her team for the Japan-India Economic Exchange, bridging the cultures and perspectives. Extending my warm regards to our revered Secretary, Ashok Kumar Mundra ji, who has sent his best wishes for this program. I am happy to welcome our respected principal and my good friend, Dr. Santosh Babu sir, for being the strength and support to conduct this program and all endeavors of our department. I welcome all the heads of the departments, faculties from various departments also. My special thank goes to Bala Muralikrishnan sir, HOD in charge, the Department of MAHRM, Placement cum Liaison Officer, who has been instrumental in making this program a reality. I once again welcome you all. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you. Welcome you all.
Thank you for the warm welcome, sir. The root of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation. I request our principal, Dr. S. Santosh Babu, to honor Professor Moriki Ohara with a shawl and memento. Thank you, sir. I request Professor J.P. Jaideep, Head PG and Research Department of Economics, to honor Ms. Suguna Ramamurthy, Secretary General, IJCCI, with a shawl and memento. Thank you, sir. I request our principal, Dr. S. Santosh Babu, to deliver the presidential address.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, very warm morning to all. Good morning. I am very happy to receive the students from Yukoka University, Kyoto, Japan, under the leadership of Professor Morikyo Ohara for our institution, with the support of the Suguna Ramamurthy, Secretary General, Indo-Japan Commerce. It is a very remarkable day for Dwarakadas Gorandas Vaishnav College, especially for myself, since I am stepping to 4th year of my principalship in Dwarakadas Gorandas Vaishnav College. Really, I like to thank Professor Jaideep, Head of the Department of Economics, for hosting the program today with the able support of Professor Balamurali Krishna and our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Narayanan. And also, we can see the tradition that the former HOD also is there today, since it shows the unity of the economics department. Dear faculty members, students from Yukoko University, and my students' friends. In Tamil, there is a person called as Thiruvalluvar. He quoted, "Serkariya yavul natpin, adupol vinaikariya yavul kapu." It's a Tamil quote. What greater security exists than a secure friendship as a protection against foes, which was quoted from Thirukkural, written by Thiruvalluvar in his 781 couplets. So we are very happy to receive our friends from the country Japan, where they are with us from morning 9 o'clock. Actually, we have to start at 9:30, but they are in time at 8:45 itself. And we gave a traditional welcome to them. And I found that happiness in their face. They are moved with the welcome given by you people as a student of Dwarakadas Gorandas Vaishnav College. And also our professor also is saying that, telling that the time limit we have allotted for this institution is very less. If you would have known earlier, you would have been spending a whole day with us. Even he is ready to send some students for exchange program to our college. Warm greetings from Vaishnav family. I give me immense pleasure to stand before you on this momentous event of Japan-India Economic Exchange. which is the first of its kind of Dwarkadaas Gorandas Vaishnav College. Japan and India have been natural partners for the last 7 decades. An event of this nature will make the partnership more meaningful and purpose. You know that today the G20 is going on. When the G20 is going on, in Vaishnav College we are conducting another G20 meeting here. So such a great opportunity was created by the Indo-Japan Association. At the same time, we also planning to have a courses in our campus for Japanese language. You know very well that in Tamil Nadu, especially in Chennai, there is lot of Japan companies in the manufacturing industry, in automobile industry, and also in the building the network. In all these things, they have been part of our Tamil Nadu. And a job opportunity for the students, if they know Japanese language, is more, especially in Chennai city. This came to my mind. We started this process 6 months before itself, and we visited 2-3 places, and we found that if the students complete N5 level at Japan language, they can get the job in the Tamil Nadu. If you want to go to Japan, they have to clear N4. So keeping in this mind, yesterday only we had a discussion with all PG department to give this N5 courses for 60 hours for 6 months so that they can take up the exam in the month of June 2024. So that initiative have taken by the institution. I like to share this to the students community. So knowing the language, whether it is Japanese or whether it is German or whether it is Hindi or whatever may be, knowing multiple language is very important in the present scenario because of the globalization. Once if the globalization starts, the language should not be a barrier wherever you go. So coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is a success. Henry Ford. We have collaborated and come together. So the beginning has been done. It is said, well begun is half done. So progress and success shall follow. With this positive note, we shall move forward on this collaborating academic exercise. Dear students, this is a golden opportunity. You can, from today onwards, you can know about the language. You can know the avenues in Japan. You know, because of population increase in India, we need more jobs for the students, more jobs for the youngsters. Jobs will not come to you. You have to create a job. Even the people are ready to give a job. Your quality, your personality should suit the particular job. Otherwise, fitting to the job is a very difficult. So we at Dwarkadaas Gorandas Vaishnav College, we started the curriculum in such a way that the current trend is followed in all the curriculum. Apart from that, even if the industry want to have something, that will be given as a value-added course. I think the August body where you are sitting, you are all doing the value-added courses apart from your regular curriculum. Is it correct or not? Why we are doing the value-added courses? That courses will suit the job market. So like that, this time we have an opportunity. In a long run, we are also planning to send our students to their country with the support of the Yukoko University. We can also send the students, so you can also be prepared to go there. If you want to be prepared to go there, you complete N5 course, you complete N4 course, then it will be very easy. So with these few words, once again, I like to congratulate all the members who are involved in this exchange program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the various events. Now, to introduce the theme of the seminar, I request Dr. S. Narayanan, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of Economics, to take over.
Very good afternoon. Thank you, all of you all. India and Japan are natural partners. Japan is regarded as a key partner in India's economic transformation. India and Japanese friendship has a very long history rooted from the spiritual affinity, strong cultural and civilization ties dating back to the visit of Indian monk Bodhisena in the year 752 AD. Prominent Indians like Swami Vivekananda, Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, entrepreneur J.R.D. Tata has been associated with Japan in the contemporary times. India and Japan established diplomatic relations on 28th April 1952. Since then, several high-level exchanges has been taken place over the last 7 decades. Our relationship with India is one of the strength, respect of common resolve for the world. This was expressed through Japan's free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. In the year 2007, the concept of free and open Indo-Pacific was introduced by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, which aimed to promote a free and open maritime order in the Indo-Pacific region, emphasizing the importance of rule-based governance, connectivity, economic growth, security cooperation among the like-minded countries. In the year 2012, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe stated, peace, stability, and freedom of navigation in the Pacific Ocean are not different from peace, stability, and freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean. Japan will play a greater role in preserving the common good between both the regions. In the year 2018, our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi stated that India's foreign policy has been to advance to need to create free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific. Japan has played a significant role in the economic development of India in the era of free and open Indo-Pacific. This partnership between the two countries has evolved over several decades and has been more crucial in the recent years. To highlight few of the Japanese contribution to the economic development of India, to start with Official Development Assistance, ODA. Japan has been the major source of ODA for India for many years. They funded various infrastructure projects in India like roads, railways, bridges, power plants, ports, and so on. This investment has contributed to Indian economic development by improving the transportation and energy infrastructure. To highlight a few ODA projects currently going on in Tamil Nadu, they are Tamil Nadu State Hydro Power Station, Tamil Nadu Small Scale Industries Development, Basin Bridge Gas Turbine Project, Bhavani Kattalai Hydroelectric Project, Chennai Sewerage Renovation and Functional Project, Tamil Nadu Urban Infrastructure Project, Tamil Nadu Transmission System Improvement Project, Urban Development Healthcare, construction of desanitation plant converting seawater to drinking water, project for installation of Chennai metropolitan area to intelligent transport systems, climate change, biodiversity, projects of upcoming setting up of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS Madurai, has been tied up with the ODA of assistance. And finally, very importantly, to highlight Chennai Metro. And the list goes on and on. We are very happy to learn that the students of Ikuku University is going to recently publish their case study to the higher officials of the government and the metro organization. And the same will be presented to us shortly. When it comes to this bilateral trade, India is one among the important trading partners, and both countries have been working to increase trade and investment. To quote few of the data points here, trade from India to Japan has grown from 713.9 billion yen in the year 2014 to 833 billion yen in the 2022. Same trade from Japan to India has grown from 861 billion yen to 2018 billion yen in the year 2022. Investments to highlight, recently the Tamil Nadu government signed a memorandum of understanding worth nearly 818 crores during our Chief Minister's visit to Japan in the field of automobiles, constructions, engineering, space, and defense. Investment from Japanese firms has not only created jobs, but also brought advanced technology and the best practices in India. Strategic partnership, skill development, human development, technological transfer, multilateral agreements, maritime connectivity. The list goes on and on with this friendship and this n number of trade between India and Japan. To conclude this, the India-Japan relationship has evolved from what was government-to-government relationship with ODA at the heart of business-to-business relationship. ODA part is still important, but because much broader signifying the maturing of our relationship and the economic and strategic partnership, the landscape of this structure has been built with dialogue architecture. What has made this possible? Institutional framework in the form of annual summit, meeting between Japan and India Strategic and Global Partnership Alliance. What is the way forward? Development of mutual understanding through active human exchanges in the government industry and academia is required and the need of the hour. The first step in this direction at our institution level has taken today. With this note, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We now request our dignitaries to take their seats in the front row. I'm honored to introduce Professor Moriki Ohara, Faculty of Economics, Department of International Economics, UKOKO University. A postgraduate from the University of London and a doctorate from the Kyoto University, his academic focus is on extracting some of the characteristics found in the Chinese industrial development process and in comparison with the Asian economies such as India and Taiwan. I request Professor Ohara to take us through his presentation.
Good. Karai Wanakapam. Good morning. My Honorable Santos Babu, Principal, respectable JD Jaideep, Professor JD Jaideep, Hamramuri Krishna, Professor, and Ms. Suguna. And thank you very much for the very heartwarming introduction, Dr. Narayana. Thank you so much. Chandrayaan-2 Waarutukar. Successful G20 coup world to come. successful completion of the 3 years leadership of this university, who were to come. Okay, so it's my great pleasure and a great honor for me to have this opportunity to address you at such a prestigious university, DG Vaishnav College. Thank you very much for all the students who come and listen to my address. Today, I have accompanied 8 students from Japan. They are bright and motivated people who represent Japanese youngsters today. Several of them will be presenting the result of their research. I'm very happy if this workshop will be an opportunity for both of us to enhance each other's learnings. The theme I'm presenting today is India-Japan economic relations in free and open Indo-Pacific. I believe that everyone have ever heard about this word. You may not be aware of it, but the Japanese interest on India has been growing more and more intense in recent years. Of course, many Japanese have noticed the fact that India has become one of the most important countries in the world, not only in international politics, which can be highlighted by the G20 summit in Delhi, but also in terms of the advanced science and technology like Chandrayaan, and the modern cultural creativity presented by the successful movie RRR. But not only that, I believe that the expectation of the Japanese people to commit our future to the friendship and cooperative action with India have reached to a historical high point, which we have never witnessed in the long experience of exchange between the two countries. This is symbolized by the concept free and open Indo-Pacific strategy. Today, I would like to share with you the historic rise in Japanese expectation for India with a focus on changing economic ties between the two countries. Before I get into the topic of Japan's expectations to India, let me introduce this man, the former Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Shinzo Abe. Unfortunately, Mr. Abe was assassinated by terrorists last year. He was respected by important political figures around the world, and Prime Minister Modi of India also attended his funeral in Japan as a close friend. The concept of free and open Indo-Pacific, which is the theme of today, was the first proposed by Mr. Abe, as introduced by Professor Narayan. Today, this concept has become the basis of the foreign policy of many countries that commonly supported democratic value in their confrontation against authoritarian states such as China and Russia. The United States is very enthusiastically leading this strategy, and many Western countries, Australia, South Korea, and others, also actively participate in this framework. This concept was first expressed by Mr. Abe in his speech, Confluence of the Two Seas, which is delivered at the Indian Parliament in 2007. I believe the concept stems from the various common historical events that Japan and India have experienced, and the common value that both countries hold in our long history of exchanges. This point will be mentioned later. First, I would like to talk about the change in the way Japan views India and its economic relations. What do you think of this TV programs is about? It was a Japanese TV program when I was in elementary school. Most Japanese are familiar with this drama and the story on which it is based. It is based on the 13th century Chinese classic called Journey to the West. It has been developed to many TV shows and animation movies in Japan. Dragon Ball is one of its derivatives versions. It is an adventure story based on the historical fact that a famous Chinese high monk in the 6th century crossed the Silk Road to India and brought back the Buddhist scriptures to China, which is a highly advanced thought of the time. In this movie, the image of India is represented by Buddha, the man of truth. I believe this story symbolizes the Japanese perception of India today. Historically, for the Japanese, India has been one of the source of spiritual virtue. A typical image is Buddhism. However, for ordinary Japanese, very few people actually have been to India and experienced their realities. India has always existed beyond the countries of East Asia, especially China, for Japanese. In Japan's long history, it had always been China and other East Asian countries that we confronted as realistic trading partners. For a long time, Japanese people have been negotiating and competing, sometimes very harshly, with the Chinese people for our livelihood. India was a spiritual paradise that existed beyond that reality. In modern times, image of Indian society and people who once colonized by the British and plunged into poverty have been widespread. Since then, for the most contemporary Japanese, India has existed as a source of spiritual excellence and virtue, and at the same time as an example of stagnant society in poverty. The limited direct contact through business and economic transactions with Indian people has reinforced such images for Japanese to the end of 20th century. Now, I would like to review the changes in the world economy since 1980s to the present from the perspective of the position of Japan and India by specifically focusing on the global production network. This figure shows the economic scale of the world major regions and their trade relation in the mid-1980s. The major regions include United States, Europe, Japan, China, Southeast Asia, Korea plus Taiwan, and India. The size of these circles indicate the size of the economy. Here are the two figures. The top one is the GDP size. The lower one is the per capita GDP, which indicates the average wealth of the population. These arrows show the trade. Among trade, here we show exports from machinery-related industries. Machinery trade industries drive industrialization and have great power to bring employment opportunity and wealth. The width of the arrow indicates the volume of export. For example, export from Japan to US in mid-1980s was 1.3 billion US dollars, while those from the US to Japan were only 250 million, indicating a large imbalance. Japan had a large trade surplus with the US, mostly in machinery-related manufactured good, among which automobiles, semiconductors, and steel was the most critical product. This figure shows some important characteristics of the world economic development in the 1980s. The United States and Europe were the two world economic centers, and Japan was expanding rapidly through the development of its manufacturing industry. Japanese industry was highly competitive and relied heavily on the US market in particular. Asian countries at that time were still small in size, with GDPs in China, India, Southeast Asia, and South Korea, Taiwan, only 1/6 to 1/4 of Japan. The difference in GDP per capita is large. Korea and Taiwan were 1/4 of Japan, ASEAN 1/14, China 1/35, and India 1/50. Both China and India were overwhelmingly poor. One of the main reasons for their poverty was a lack of development in the manufacturing industry. Both China and India have very few exports of machinery-related industries. They had little international competitiveness in this sector at that time. High exports mean that the industry is highly competitive. It was a time when Japan, with its newly competitive industry, achieved rapid economic development while relying on the US market. However, in 1955, one critical event occurred: trade friction between Japan and the United States. The US, which had lost out to Japan in every major industry, including automobiles, steel, and semiconductors, used its political power to exert enormous pressure on Japan. It demanded that Japan curb its exports, sharply raise the value of its currency, and buy US products. As a result, a major change occurred in Asia. Japanese companies expanded overseas investment on large scale. Manufacturing companies that had previously produced domestically in Japan and exported directly to the United States began to increase their outward direct investment and produce overseas. This figure shows a trade matrix 10 years later, in 1995. We find several important changes. Export from Japan to US. Sorry for that. Export from Japan to US declined. At the same time, export from Japan to Southeast Asia and Korea and Taiwan increased. And export from Southeast Asia to United States, or the Korean Taiwan to United States, has increased significantly. Japanese companies established factories in Southeast Asia and Korean Taiwan and began to export to the United States market from there. At the same time, local Korean and Taiwanese companies learned technology from Japan, imported Japanese technology and equipment, manufactured products, and began exporting them to the United States. Korean companies like Samsung and LG and Taiwanese companies like Foxconn began their rapid growth in that way at that time. In China, too, such investment from Japan and trade dynamism began to transfer, but not yet with much success. 10 years later, in 2005, the next major change emerged. Though Japan still occupied an important position in the trade matrix, but it was no longer the dominant player as it had been. China became another hub in the matrix. South Korea and Taiwan have greatly increased their exports. And Southeast Asia is also increasing its presence. Local Korean and Taiwanese firms became suppliers of new technology and capital, expanding into China. And Southeast Asia, expanding in China and Southeast Asia to boost exports from those regions. A global supply chain has formed, with Japanese companies exporting core components, materials, and production equipment, and Korean and Taiwanese companies producing critical devices, which are finally assembled in China and exported as finished goods, and they are exported as finished product to the United States and Europe. Another important change is that China, Southeast Asia, South Korea, and Taiwan gradually began to equal to Japan in economic scale or market size. These countries, previously regarded as production centers that took advantage of cheap labor to make export products, now became important markets as large as Japan at this time. During this period, India was out of this dynamic growth and linkage. India's economic growth was slower than that of China and other Southeast Asian countries, and one important reason for this is that it was out of the Asian manufacturing network. I mentioned earlier that India was historically a distant country for the Japanese. Until 2005, India still was outside the chain of industrial development led by Japan. It was still a distant country. Here is the situation in 2020. It has changed even more drastically since early 2000. Clearly, the global manufacturing supply chain has become huge. China is at the center of this massive matrix. China enjoys export surplus with almost every major country except Japan. In particular, it has a large surplus with the United States. At the same time, the size of the Chinese market has surpassed that of Europe, which has stopped growing, and is about to catch up with the United States. It has become the new center of the global economy in a different way from the United States in 1980s. Whereas the United States in 1980s was a large absorber of products from the rest of the world. But China in 2020 is the hub of global supply chain that experiences great trade surplus to the rest of the world. Indian economy has also grown in size. Despite its largeness in size, however, India is still stuck on the periphery of the global supply chain. The only prominent link to the supply chain is the large import from China. Why has India remained so little connected to the global supply chain for so many years? The reason for this is that India has so far been unable to fully tap into the wave of industrial development in Asia, which is a mixture of foreign direct investment, local industry development, and trade. The key factor behind this is the phenomenon that China has absorbed all the ripple effect of dynamic industrial development, and subsequent countries have not been able to take advantage of them. Let me explain this with a model of catching up industrial development. This model explains the situation in Asia until the 2000s. The first new modern industry to emerge in Asia was Japan. For example, the contemporary textile industry in the 1950s. However, as this technology becomes standardized, many companies compete using the same technology. Then price drop and it becomes unprofitable. The next new industry that is technologically more difficult, such as the machinery industry, emerges and becomes more profitable. The obsolete textile industry moved to foreign developing countries, such as Korea or Taiwan. Local Korean and Taiwanese firms may acquire textile technology by themselves, or Japanese firms may invest directly and begin production in Korea and Taiwan. New industry emerge in more advanced countries and are gradually transferred to other Asian countries. In this way, a wave of industrial development spreads throughout Asia, from Japan to China. However, with the emergence of China, the spread of this wave came to a halt. Once labor-intensive industry entered China, they do not transfer to the next country, such as India. One reason is that it will move to poorer inland regions within China. Another reason is that with the recent development of automation and labor-saving technology, labor-intensive industry will not become obsolete in China. Another factor is that the Chinese local government will try to promote labor-intensive industry in order to protect local jobs. This figure shows that such a trend exists. The dots in these figures show the change in dependence on exports of labor-intensive products from 1995 to 2019 for various countries. The horizontal axis is GDP per capita, and the vertical axis is the export specialization index, or the dependence on exports of labor-intensive products. The more competitive a country in the labor-intensive products, the more dependent on exports in industry. For example, these dots show that Vietnam's dependence on exports of labor-intensive products increased from 1955 to 2020 as the country grew richer. These are the trends for China over the same period. These are the trends of Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan for the same period. In these countries, contrary to Vietnam, as the countries become richer, they become more dependent on imports of labor-intensive products. Looking East Asia as a whole, we see that in poorer countries such as Vietnam and earlier China, labor-intensive manufacturing export drive economic growth. But after a certain period of time, after a certain point, as the country becomes richer, labor-intensive manufacturing moves production overseas and become more dependent on imports from countries at lower stage of development. We saw this earlier in the catch-up industrialization model. 2 points are worth noting. One is that in recent years, the ratio of labor-intensive manufacturing export has remained very high in China, and it does not fall, despite the fact that the country has become rich enough to graduate from this stage compared to the experiences of Japan, Korea, and Taiwan. Even though China has become rich enough, it has not moved this industry overseas, but has kept it inside. The other point is India. India's dependence on exports of labor-intensive manufacturing has declined over the same period of time. As we saw in the previous trade matrix, India exports manufacturing goods exclusively from China. From the perspective of India's stage of development, this indicates that labor-intensive manufacturing industries that should have been transferred from China to India have not, and India has become increasingly dependent on imports from China. This is thought to be the cause of the stagnation of catching up industrial development in India. In other words, the wave of catching up type industrial development has stopped before India due to China's over-industrialization. There may be various reasons why the waves of catching up industrial development has not come to India. The presence of China is not the only one reason. I believe that the weakness of India's domestic industrial development partly stems from weak infrastructure and partly from the low level of the education for female workers, which have discouraged companies from Japan and other Asian countries from investing in India. However, I also believe that the way many Japanese have engaged with India, as I mentioned at the outset, has also been a factor. In the first place, the starting point of this wave of catching up industrial development was Japan. For many Japanese, India was historically a distant country, and the main stage for their real economic activities was historically China and Southeast Asia. Japanese have focused their attention and investment on how to successfully do business with China. They have believed in China. They believed that concentrating their assets in China is safe. As a result, we have created a global supply chain where every important product cannot be produced without going through China. India was not able to attract enough investment in this context. It is against this background that I said earlier that Japan-India relations have entered a historical stage. Many of the world's major economies, especially Asian economies led by Japan, have collectively created a system in which they must depend China economically. This economic system must be transformed. For Japan, cooperation with India is a key to changing this system. The risk of economic dependence on China has become more apparent in recent years. Not only experts, but also the general public are finally becoming aware of the inherent political risks of China. China has grown into a country with the world's largest market, with its own advanced technology and a powerful military. The problem is that its mighty military and economic power has become a means of political security for the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. There were several ways to use economic power for the CCP's political ends. One potent method is holding up. While the other party is in a situation where it must depend on China economically, it threatens the other party to comply with its political demands. Examples of this are numerous in neighboring countries. When Taiwan does not listen, they ban imports of mangoes. When the Philippines does not listen, they ban imports of pineapples. When Japan does not listen, they advertise that Japan is polluting the world by discharging wastewater from nuclear power plants that contaminated nuclear materials into the sea. Disseminate a lot of fake news and banning imports of Japanese marine products. It is not only agricultural product, it is embargoed rare earths which are needed to produce electromagnetics and motors. In China, everything can be politicized. It's not really an exaggeration to say that they will do anything to protect the communist dictatorship. China's political and economic system has also changed. This figure illustrates that change. It shows the political and economic system of China during the Maoist era. It was a typical socialist planned economy system in which the CCP controlled the economy. As a center of the state. However, it was so inefficient and poor that it had to be reformed. Reform started in China in the 1980s. This is China's political and economic system when it was reforming. The control of the Communist Party is reduced, and the authority of the government is increased. The transition to a market economy was underway, and the authority of foreign companies was guaranteed. The world, including Japan, believed that this transformation would continue in China and that the country would eventually become a country with a shared value. The trust led to a concentration of investment and technology transfers to China. However, these expectations has been betrayed. Over the past decades, China has begun to shift its political and economic system in a completely different direction. The survival of the Communist Party has become the primary objective of the state, and the direct political control of the Communist Party over the market sector is becoming completed. This is supported by the development of cutting-edge information control technology and the establishment of a system of monitor society. Internationally, the country is increasing the number of countries in its sphere of influence with the One Belt, One Road strategy. The economic implications of free and open Indo-China are that it will adjust the current global supply chain, which is at undue risk of being controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, and improve it to make it less susceptible to Chinese influence. Of particular importance are Japan, which was the original starting point for catching up industrial development, and India, whose development has been excessively restrained by China's too large industrial absorptive capacity. Japan and many other countries are beginning to diversify their overly concentrated supply chains in China. India is the most promising destination for this investment. It is clear that India is ready. A wealth of human resources, increasing education, advanced technological development bearing fruit, massive investment in infrastructure, and an expanding domestic market are all areas where now industrial development is steadily becoming a reality. And one of the most promising elements of all will be the educational enrichment and social advancement of Indian young, highly educated talent like you. As we entered an era in which the long-standing excellence of D.G. Vaishnav College is blossoming beautifully under the free and open Indochina. Let me conclude my report by emphasizing that we are entering a beautiful and blossoming era under the free and open Indo-Pacific. Thank you very much for your attention. So thank you very much for listening very with a great patience. Now, as I have conveyed my idea about the whole image of the Indo-China economic relations in the future, and now I'd like to introduce my student, and would you please give them some 6-7 minutes to make a compliment with my story, more concrete example of the Indo-China cooperation, Chennai Metro, and they will deliver more detailed story about Chennai Metro. And also, I believe that I mean the distribution of the, it's going on. Okay, so they are distributing a small QR code, this size of the seat to you, or they are now undertaking that. So would you please help us to make the our students study questionnaire survey. This is the so please scan the QR code and proceed the small questionnaire survey. Please answer the question, and this will help my student. Okay, so can I introduce my student?
Thank you, sir. Now, we'd like to welcome Dr. T.S. Prema, former head, PG and Research Department of Economics, DDGD Vaishnav College, currently the principal of St. Thomas College of Arts and Science. We extend our warm welcome, ma'am. Now, we request the student group of Yukoku University to present Japan's ODA, the case study of the Chennai Metro.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Welcome. Hello. Okay. Hello, we came from Ryukoku University in Kyoto, Japan. Thank you for inviting us and giving us a great opportunity to see you. Let me introduce Kyoto and our university. This is Kyoto. This is Kyoto. This city is so famous over the traditional temples and buildings. Kyoto has 70 World Heritage Sites, so many foreign tourists visit this city. Kimono, a traditional kimono, traditional Japanese costume, is so popular, and sightseeing people can borrow it and walk around the city. Actually, Kyoto had been the capital of Japan for more than 1,000 years until 1869, when the political center was moved to new and modern capital Tokyo. The beauty and the elegancy of the city has been kept well, which accrue long-lasting love from many people all over the world.
This is our university, Ryukoku University. It's in Fukakusa, Kyoto, and has a history about 318 years. And we can learn 30 fields of expertise, and we major in economics and management in this university. Ryukoku University has about 20,000 students. Among these, about 600 are foreign students. We often interact with students from many countries and our university and learn so many things from them. Our university is not only historically rich, but also contemporary and globally advanced. We are so interested in the economic and the business development of India. Today, we would like to learn a lot from you and want to deepen friendship with you all. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Akito from Kyoto. There are two things I would like to share with you this time. The first is the unique nature of Japanese offshore development assistance, and the second is the close relationship with India. The first is the unique nature of Japanese offshore development assistance. It calls ODA. Japanese ODA emphasizes the realization of prosperity through the creation of industry and employment in developing countries. To this end, Japanese ODA has emphasizes the infrastructure construction to support industrial development in developing countries. As a result, we have seen a phenomenon known as the Trinity, a mixture of three elements: job creation through overseas expansion of Japanese companies, increased trade with Japan, and infrastructure construction to support distribution and trade through ODA. Let me explain the distinction between grants and loans and between tied and untied forms of development assistance. First, grants are the gifts of development funds that not need to be returned. A loan, on the other hand, requires the funds to be returned at a later date. Second, a tide is in which some of the materials and resources used are from donor countries. In contrast, untied projects do not require such conditions and leave as much as possible to local companies. Japan has always adopted the untied loan-oriented approach. However, it is not always local companies that take on projects funded by Japanese ODA, but rather other foreign companies. And with the opening of a high-speed railroad in Taiwan in 2007 that uses Japanese Shinkansen technology, Japan has come to view rail service as a new export resource. As a result, There has been an increase in Thai-style ODA in recent years to provide more opportunities for Japanese companies.
Currently, India is the largest recipient of Japanese bilateral ODA, and at the same time, the largest amount of ODA that India receives is from Japan. The largest portion of ODA used in India is the field of transportation, with the majority of ODA used in railroad sector, including the introduction of bullet train technology, provision of metal rolling stock, signaling systems, maintenance technology, tunneling method, and infrastructure technology, and other railway-related items. The most successful example is the Delhi Metro. The Delhi Metro started in 1996 and has grown to become one of the largest metro systems in the world, with 286 stations constructed, a total length of 390 kilometers, and a daily capacity of about 5 million passengers. More than 50% of the total construction cost of the Delhi Metro, 64% for the first phase, and about 50% for the second phase, was funded by Japanese ODA. However, since the project was implemented under untied conditions, Japanese companies did not participate much in its construction and operation. Meanwhile, in 2015, the Indian and Japanese governments decided to build a high-speed railroad between Mumbai and Ahmedabad using Japanese technology. This project will introduce the latest Japanese technology and services, and many Japanese companies are expected to participate in the project. The project will be symbolic of a new direction of technological cooperation between Japan and India.
The Chennai Metro is one example of a successful project that has been made possible by Japanese ODA. The Chennai Metro is divided into Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 was completed and already in operation. There are Line 1 and 2, Blue 1 and Green 1. The Japanese yen loan provided that here. Phase 2 is for Line 3 and 5, Purple 1 and Red 1. Phase 2 is under construction. The yen loan provided that. In Phase 2, about 49% of the total construction cost will be financed by Japanese yen loans. The main difference between Phase 1 and 2 is the tied and untied. Because Phase 1 was implemented as an untied project, few Japanese companies participated, so Japan's strengths like the rolling stock and control system were not used. On the other hand, Phase 2 is a tied project. Japanese government expects Japanese companies to participate in Phase 2 and to introduce advanced Japanese technologies and services. This is also expected due to the large amount of loans. But in reality, there are two major obstacles. The first is technical difficulties. Japanese standards for rolling stock and rails are different from those of the rest of the world, and it is impossible to actually use them locally. Also, the same standards must be used in Phase 2 because European-based standards were adopted in Phase 1. The second is the Indian government localization policy. The Indian government wants to employ as many Indian companies as possible or foreign companies that have own factories in India. Compared to other countries, Japan has been slower to enter India than European and Korean companies. So Japanese companies is hard to participate in this project. Despite these difficulties, efforts are being made to recruit many Japanese companies with advanced technology and services. I hope that through the Chennai Metro, you will be able to feel the quality of Japanese technology and services. And I wish this will lead to improve image of Japan and feel comfortable. Thank you for listening.
Can we have a round of applause for our students from Ryokoku University for their presentation? A country's culture resides in the hearts of its people. We request the student group of Ryokoku University to perform for us.
So thank you very much for listening my students' presentation. And now I would like to show, because maybe you are tired, so to give you a small refreshment, I'd like to let my student to give you some small entertainment. So first is the Japanese small talk, Japanese joke, and followed by the some small dance.
Okay, let me start.
One evening after the rain, there is an old man who has a fishing rod and dropping fishing line into a small water pond in front of a bar.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
I'm fishing now.
Fishing? Oh, poor, he must be crazy. Would you like to go into this bar? I'll treat you a beer.
Oh, really? I'd love to. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Excuse me, 2 glasses of beers, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's so good.
Good?
Yeah,
That's nice. By the way, you said you were fishing.
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, it was so good.
Good?
Yeah.
How many fishes have you caught today?
Uh, you are the seventh. Thank you so much. Are you ready? Okay. So let me start second story, okay? Hey, there was a car accident in the mountains. The family member in the car was sent to the hospital. A policeman came to the accident site to investigate it. A monkey, the pet of the family members, was standing by the policeman.
Oh, there was a bad accident. I wonder what happened in the car. I wish that monkey could talk. Hey, monkey, do you understand what I am saying? Wow, girl. So, what were the children doing when the accident took place? I see. They were playing around in the car. Maybe they were bothering driver. That might be the cause of the accident. Well, how about the mother? What was she doing at the time? Oh, I see. She was sleeping. Maybe she was sleeping and driving. Okay, how about the father? What was he doing at the time? Oh no, he was drinking. Maybe he was drinking and driving. It should be the cause of the accident. Okay. Thank you for your cooperation. This is your banana. By the way, how about you? What were you doing when the accident took place? Yeah. You were the cause of the accident. Thank you. Okay. Okay, let's start. There is a small noodle shop. The shopkeeper is an old man who is nearly 80 years old. One day, a customer was about to pay for noodle to him.
Hey, old man, how much is this I paid for the noodle?
$12.
Okay, $12. Oh, I'm sorry. I only have small change. In order not to make a mistake, I'll count one by one. Give me your hand, please.
Okay.
Okay, now I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, by the way, what time is it now?
9 o'clock.
Okay, 9, right?
Hmm.
10, 11, 12. Now I paid $12. Bye.
Bye.
Another customer was looking at them.
What a great idea.
Next day, the other man came to the shop and ate noodle. But this time, it was different time of the day.
Okay, let's go. Hey man, how much is that I want to pay for the noodle?
$12.
Oh, $12. Oh, shit. I only have small change now. In order not to make a mistake, I'll count. Give me your hand, please.
Shall I count?
No, I'll count by myself.
Okay.
Now, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, by the way, what time is it now?
2 o'clock.
2, right? Okay.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I paid $12.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
So next one is a dancing.
駆け抜けてどこへ向かう月明かりだけがただ一つの道しるべ痛みも悲しみも拭いきれずされどこの胸の炎を消させないあがために僕たちはこの思いを貫いて闇を裂き火の下で光さす日まで時を打たれた心に宿した日を舞い上げまと今両手の向こう側へ君がいるこの世界もう一度愛せるまで若い命果てよともつなぎてゆこう絆が紡いで生まれた奇跡を
無敵の笑顔だらすメディア知りたいその秘密ミステリアス抜けてるとこさえ彼女のエリア完璧で嘘つきな君は天才的なアイドル様今日何食べた好きな本は遊びに行くならどこに行くの何も食べてないそれは内緒何を聞かれてものらりくらりそう淡々とだけどさんさんと味噌で見えない秘密は蜜の味あれもないないないこれもないないない好きなタイプは相手はさ答えて誰かを好きになることなんて私わからなくてさ嘘か本当か知り得ないそんな言葉にまた一人落ちるまた好きにさせる誰もが目を奪われてく君は完璧で究極のアイドル金輪際現れない一番星の生まれ変わりその笑顔で愛してるで誰も彼も虜にしていくその瞳がその言葉が嘘でもそれは完全な愛はい
How was the performance, guys? We really thank the students of Rukkoku University for their energetic and powerful performance. They have not done it anywhere in Chennai, but in DG Vaishnav College. Give them a big round of applause, guys. Arigato gozaimasu.
We request our principal to honor the student group from Yukoko University. I request Lakshmi from MAHRM to present the names.
Aoki-san? Kamohara-san? Kanda-san? Katsuzui-san? Kawamoto-san? Nanjo-san? Ohara-san? Yamada-Mei-san? Arigatou gozaimasu.
I am very happy to note that the students of our college are very energetic. If any programs goes, this was told by the professor. He told me just now, your students are very energetic because you are staying here from 11 o'clock. If any program goes, usually what the students will think is they want to go out. That too at the afternoon time, you want to have a lunch, everything is there, you want to go out. But at the same time you are here means that shows your tradition. He was telling like that. So you can go out within 5 minutes, don't worry. At the same time, we will not hold you for more time. Okay. வாங்க மேடம். என்னப்பா?
Can we please have Dr. T.S. Prema and R. Balasubramaniam sir on stage?
Good afternoon. I'm sure all of you are waiting for this. I know I'm not a good speaker, but all of you would like to get out of this place and then have some good food. You have had, good thought in the afternoon over the seminar, then some entertainment program, but now is a time that you should have some good food. I'm sure all of you would have really enjoyed every bit of this program. And we look forward to having a beautiful half-a-day cultural program exclusively on Japanese, with the Japanese. And I'm sure every one of you would like to participate in this. So we look forward to your participation. And it is my pleasant privilege to propose a vote of thanks. My grateful thanks to Dr. Santosh Babu for being present and given us this kind of a platform. My sincere thanks to the team, the dedicated team with the student network, Dr. Balamurli Krishnan, Dr. Narayanan, the stalwart in economics who is here, who has joined us pretty late, and it was really indeed a nice opportunity that he is here, and Dr. Jaydev. It's such a excellent coordination between the faculty and the student thing. And when we went around, we were highly impressed to see how the whole college really performs. We're looking at it from outside. I had really not known so much about this college, and having been, here for the last half a day or so, it's really wonderful to be here. And the kind of, interaction and the hospitality that is shown towards this team is amazing. And I wish the principal continues for many more years, and that he brings a lot of laurels to the college. And I understand this is your first international, receiving a guest team. And I wish you all many more such international guests visiting your college, be it Japan or America or whatever be the country. I will definitely do my best and make sure that you people are not only educated and entertained also. And in fact, the kind of, besides the education, it is the values and the moral and ethical values that is imbibed into the students is something amazing that, it is worth mentioning. And it is, highly impressive to see every one of you have pride in your college. It is that which is very important, which helps build this institution. And when I look at the track record of this college, it has really grown beautifully in a trajectorial way year after year. Unless the management and the faculty team coordinates, this cannot be made possible. Of course, everything goes hand in hand with the help of students like you, the young ones who have really enjoyed today. And I'm sorry for having retained you for a long time. Look forward to an absolutely electrifying cultural performance. When you learn the language, I would request every one of you, including the faculty, to include elements such as Japanese art, culture, strategic points, which you would really be enlightened with, and that which really helps you when you go for a job. So you need to have a comprehensive outlook about Japan, or any country for that matter. And I'm happy that this college has chosen Japanese as a language, in addition to your curriculum. And I wish every one of you who have joined this course to be, blessed with a beautiful job. And you don't just stop with the N5, please go to N4. and try to do at least about 150 hours of education, which would help you speak, read, and write, and that you can go close with them. Next time when I bring a Japanese guest, will all of you be able to speak some words in Japanese? That is the spirit. Yeah, that's very good. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. Arigatou gozaimashita. Yoku dekimashita, minasan ga. Thank you so much, and thanks to Dr. Moriki Ohara and his team for such a lovely performance. And thanks to every one of you behind this successful program. Thank you.
Kindly rise for the Japanese national anthem, followed by the Indian national anthem.